Our peace family is Mr. Real Estate Morrison, aka Young Malcolm, and I'm doing a quick video. I called my team just to the office, set up a quick studio, and I want to do a video on what's wrong with the black community and what's wrong in the black community. And this video really aligns with the solution, which is my new book, How Africans in America Achieve Unity, Justice, and Repair. But when I go to the core, like what's wrong with our community, right? No matter how you want to look at it, black community, African American community, or Africans in America, one of the biggest things that's wrong goes right back to a diagnosis that our forefather, our hero, a great pioneer, leader, and even martyr in our community, Malcolm X, gave us a diagnosis. And in Malcolm's speech, The Ballot or the Bullet, Malcolm said, we suffer from political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. So what that means, I broke it all down, right? There's really, really big words. Malcolm was highly intelligent, right? And so for those of us who didn't go to college, and some of us like myself dropped out of high school and who went down the wrong roads, but still having to pick up some, intellect and vocabulary and verbiage, I'm still going to give us a little dive in, right? So when we talk about suffering for like black people, Africans in America, we suffer from political oppression. What that means is that from a political standpoint, we're oppressed. Oppressed means that you're burdened down, that you're stressed, there's anxiety, that you are a power or authority treats a people unfairly, right? And so we see that in the biased policing that statistically happens more towards Africans in America, the biased policies made by the lobbyists and legislation, as many of you have seen in a new Netflix film, The 13th, which I haven't even seen yet. Terrence was telling me about it. But it breaks down the 13th Amendment and the biased policies and laws that are made to target Africans in America. And then the biased sentencing, the sentencing laws that are made to have us in jail longer, right? And that it's all been a 400-year history of how do we make it lopsided from a policing or slave catching or a policy and law perspective where the Africans in America can continue to give us their free labor and cheap labor, right? So that's political oppression, right? Which tends to all the police brutality and the unjust murders and the lopsided juries and all those kind of things that we've been seeing for years and years and years. That's political oppression. That's the proof of it. Another form of how we can identify our oppression is simply look up the words second-class citizens, right? And all this is in my book, The Solution. But I want to give you guys a verbal, right, to camera, because some of y'all just won't pick up a book you won't read, even though it's an easy read, about 140 pages. But when you look at second-class citizenship, what the definition says, a second-class citizen is someone in a society or people in a society who aren't accorded the same fair share as others in that society or same fair consideration as others in that society. So how we prove our second-class citizenship is very simple. If you were to survey others of other descents, European descent, Asian descent, and other nationalities or ethnicities, and you were to ask them, not would you trade places with a black person, right? Let's be specific. Would you trade places with the treatment of a black person? Would you trade your European American treatment? Will you trade that treatment in and will you swap with the treatment of an African American? Right? So if it's all equal, it's all fair, we all say, shit, I'll take your treatment, you take mine, who cares? It's all fair. But there's very little people in their right mind who would trade places with the treatment that African Americans receive or Africans in America receive, because we all understand that it's lopsided and that it's not fair. And so that again proves our political oppression, right? So what's wrong with the black community? Well, that's one thing, our political oppression. And before you guys go crazy and talk about black on black crime and all of that, chill the hell out. Like, we're getting to it. We're getting to everything. So also what Malcolm, our forefather, our hero, a great leader in our community said, is we suffer from economic exploitation, which simply means that we are exploited economically. And we're exploited economically because of our economic ignorance. We don't know much about wealth building, about money, about wealth building strategies. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the self-development that's needed for wealth building. I'm talking about the understanding of credit and debt that is involved in wealth building, the understanding of entrepreneurship and business strategies, business structures, S Corps, C Corps, sole proprietorships, tax law, tax strategies. I'm talking about real estate, residential real estate, commercial real estate, acquisitions, refinances, loans, leveraging, right? These are all the things that are really unfamiliar to our people, and a large part is because there was never been any intentional education for our people through any of our history here in those things. So it's information we got to seek for ourselves. But as long as we're ignorant to wealth building strategies and ignorant to economics, we'll continue to be used, abused, and exploited. So part of that is where one thing is that home ownership, land ownership, but also how we intentionally circulate our dollars. And we know that black folks, Africans in America, spend a lot of money. We have almost a $1.3 million spending power, right? But we are the poorest people in America and have been for 398 years. So apparently we're not spending that money wisely or spending it well or spending it in our community. And a simple fix to that is to be more intentional about how we circulate our money amongst our businesses and communities. And then some say, hey, wait, that is, that's biased, that's racist, that's a bigot for you to say, hey, direct your dollars, your black dollars into black businesses. But this all comes part of what's wrong with the black community is that as I get to all these different diagnoses that Malcolm gave us, we are not intentional enough about repairing our own problems. So we want to please everybody as opposed to first pleasing, repairing, and healing ourselves. That's the biggest problem with the black community, right? So many of us are scared to be pro-black, pro-African, to exhibit black love, to stand up for our people, because we want to please everybody. We want to ruffle any feathers, but it hurts us. So it's like the craziest trick in the book, when we really do it to ourselves, is that, all right, we're going to pretend that everybody's equal. We're going to pretend we're all American and we're all one, but we suffer the most. So while we spread love everywhere and spread money everywhere and don't intentionally give ourselves any love, healing, or intentional economic stimulation, we then are staying in last place because we haven't done anything to actually boost ourselves up, and we're scared to, many of us. So outside of our economic exploitation, Malcolm said we suffer from social degradation. I'm like, what the hell is degradation? Like, I kind of get it. What's that? So, me being me, I hit the Google and I looked it up. And degradation is simply being degraded, or one degrading themselves. And so we know as a people that we've been degraded by European American ancestors who came here, and those who were in power and in control, and what you may call white supremacists. We know we've been degraded by the government through laws, 3/5 of a man law. The U.S. government itself said we were 3/5 of a person, right? That's degrading for a government, and to still keep it in laws that we're 3/5 of a person. For the government to allow Confederate flags to still hang throughout the country when those flags stood for our oppression, that would be similar to Nazi flags hanging in Germany, because that was a political organization and part of history, right? But you wouldn't do that because you care for the lives of those those flags offend, right? So we go through that degrading. But let's talk about the self-degradation, right? The self-degrading, where we actually have made it cool and a habit to degrade ourselves, how we speak to ourselves. We made it acceptable as opposed to intentionally elevate ourselves. Instead of talking positivity and life into ourselves, knowing what we've been through, we rather degrade ourselves and make it cool because it's an act of rebellion, right? So for us to be like, you know what? I could say nigga, I could say bitch, I could say what I want. Those are expressions, those are words, those are pop culture. I could do those things. That's your way of rebelling and saying, yo, buck the system. But by us bucking the system, we're really cutting our nose off to spite our face. We saying, F our face. Our face done did us wrong. So you know what? I'm going to cut my nose off. But now your ass can't breathe or taste food, fam. So we are spiting ourselves by how we treat our women and talk to our women. Like, that's one of the biggest things that is a issue and concern to me, is that I got two daughters, one 17 and one 8. I have a mother and I have a grandmother and I have aunts and I have sisters. And it's like, you wouldn't want nobody calling your daughters bitches. You wouldn't want nobody calling your grandma bitch. So why you call somebody else's daughter, somebody else's mother, somebody else's gram that term? Especially when you are of our descent and you know we got these issues, these problems, which we didn't cause the problems that we have, but we live in the problems we have, and we are faced with the opportunity to solve our own problems. How dope is that? Like, nothing's stopping us from solving what's going on with us but us. Not being intentional about it. Getting too caught up in being cool, too caught up in pleasing others, too caught up in what other communities, ethnicities are going to say about us, being intentional about us. And so one thing I've been working on in my approach, because as you see, I'm very passionate about it, and it may come off wrong. So it is a sensitive balance. See, me, I have an approach like, yo, I don't care what nobody think. Like, this what needs to be done. I'm a truth teller. That's why I say young Malcolm. It's because the spirit of our ancestor lives within me. And the truth-telling spirit and the bravery and courage of our ancestor lives within me. So I'm going to say what needs to be said and what has to be said. And I just released a video on World Star Hip Hop where I got a lot of backlash from Africans in America and European Americans because I checked a European American, right, on who I called the white boy in the video, because that's what he called himself. He said, I'm a white boy. And so I used his own term back to him. And I asked him about him rapping and referring to our women, African women, as bitches. And so I just simply asked him, do you not see them better as that? And then many people are like, oh man, why you do that? You wouldn't say that to Gucci. You wouldn't say that to Game. You wouldn't say that to these rappers, these other rappers who use that term. And lo and behold, I do. When I see these kings, I do have these conversations. I see gangbangers in the street, like real guys, real street guys. I had these conversations. But you know what I say is different. See, when I'm talking to my brother of African descent, it's different how I approach him about calling women bitches, because that's family. But when we talk about the guy from across the street who's calling our sisters bitches, it's a different conversation. Now, we all part of the human family, and that's what I'm saying. My approach, I'm trying to soften my approach, because I love all people. I rock with all races. I have white, black, Hispanic, Asian, all kind of people within my organization who I do business with and all that. I'm open to everybody. But I gotta solve, as a man, I have a duty to solve the issues in my community. Our house is on fire. I have a duty to put the fire out in my house first. So what my goal is, as a leader, as an influencer, and just as a black man in America, as an African man in America, what my goal is, and what I'm challenging myself, right? Because you guys know who follow me, I have this phrase or this strategy called the 4 E's of excellence, which are evaluate, eliminate, evolve, and execute. And so I've been evaluating myself lately. I've been evaluating my approach lately, and I want to eliminate some things from my approach so I can evolve to a greater height and then execute and live out a better me. And so I cannot dilute my message. I cannot water down my passion. That's just impossible. God gave me this call and this purpose. But what I do want to do and what I can do is I want to broaden it up. I want to make it more inclusive. And I want to understand. People mistake passion for anger, and there may even be a bit of anger in there, or rage or frustration in there. But it's just love, and it's passion, and it's watching my family in a house that's burning, and I'm frantic about doing something about it. And you got some that's just chilling on the porch while the house is burning. And you got some that's worried about what the people across the street gonna say about you throwing water on your own house. So what I'm trying to say to us, the biggest thing that's wrong with African people in America, with our community, is that we not being intentional about putting a fire out in our own house. When your house is burning and your family's suffering, and we an extended family, we gotta do what we gotta do. And we need to do it by any means necessary. We need to do it adamantly and assertively and aggressively. And we gotta put the fire out in our house, that fire of political oppression, of economic exploitation, and social degradation. And that's what my book, The Solution, is about, not the problems. I just gave you the problem, what's wrong with us. But tonight at midnight, October 14th, my book drops. And it's actually the solution, the cure to those 3 things I just laid out. But part of it, we can solve our own problems. It's like me being a 3-time felon, being a high school dropout, welfare kid, all these kind of things, right? And becoming successful in the corporate space and in the real estate space. I just fixed my own shit. I solved my own problem. We have the same ability as a community to fix our own shit. Excuse my language, but let's have real talk. But you gotta have a passion, a want to do it. So for me, when I see our kings calling our women bitches or calling each other niggas, well, one thing I do is I greet everybody as kings and queens to elevate us. 2, what I say to our men, to our kings, is, hey, king, these are women. These are women. These ain't no Asian women. These ain't no European women. These women ain't from Thailand. These African women. And if all they hear is us co-signing that they bitches, that's how they gonna feel, how they gonna act, how they gonna move. And what's gonna regurgitate down to our kids. So if African women in America, black women are queens, if you got black women who haven't been called nothing good in their life, or black women who think they cool because they a bad bitch, because we put that on them, if that's the case, that's our fault. as a black man, we need to be ashamed that our bitches have, or that our women have accepted the term of being called bitches and hoes and chicks and all of that. Like, it's our fault. It's not the white man's job, the European American man's job, the American government's job, the Asian man's job, the Hispanic man's job, or anybody else to take care of our women. So it's our responsibility to take care of our women and uplift our women so they can support and uplift our community and take care of our kids and take care of our black asses. So we got to be intentional as men, as leading, and ask yourself, what would Malcolm do? Like, if you are that rapper, if you are that entertainer that just can't get past the cool card, or that person in the street, you ask yourself, you respect Malcolm, don't you? I may have not earned your respect yet. That's cool. I'm going to keep putting in work doing what I do. But ask yourself, you respect Malcolm, don't you? And for those of you who look at Malcolm as a racist, or he was a bigot or whatever, you need to listen to Malcolm's one of his last speeches 3 months before his assassination at the Oxford Union in London, England, where Malcolm said, I'm willing to work with anybody of any race, of any color, that wants to stop injustice. Malcolm evaluated himself. He evolved. He eliminated, and he evolved, and he executed. Same thing. That's why I respect our leader so much, is that he continually grew, he continually evolved. And that's what we got to do as a community. We got to continue to grow. We got to evaluate ourselves, keep it real with ourselves. And be like, yo, we not being 100 with ourselves. We're not doing our best. Keep it real with ourselves. Evaluate ourselves. And then eliminate all the bullshit. Eliminate what we know we do wrong. What we know is not benefiting us as a community, because nobody cares about us like us. So stop worrying about and needing somebody else's cosign or somebody else's sign of privilege for us to do for us. So we evaluate ourselves. We eliminate the BS. Then we evolve as a better people. We execute and live that better life. Like, that's the solution. That we got to be intentional about our repair, about our economic stimulation the best we can, and about ending our oppression and receiving justice. And I laid out a blueprint for us. But we got to get past what people think about a syndrome. We got to get past the charismatic leader syndrome. Yo, every single one of us is a leader. That shit's in all of us. But you got to lead to the degree you can lead. But stop doing things that you know are detrimental to our people. If you know it's not a good look, if you know it's not good for our people, then cut it out. And so that's really it. I just want to leave with that. Tonight, I don't know when you guys will be watching this, but tonight I am doing another Periscope and Facebook Live. I got them in the room, broadening on, both my books, Lord of My Land and The Solution. So I'm dropping 2 books tomorrow, right? 2 books this month. It's going to be a legacy piece for me. So I'm excited about that. But I'm just really constantly trying to figure out how to round out my message, round out my approach, be more impactful, be more effective as a leader, and help to create real change within my community. And it's not about exclusion, it's no knock, it's no diss to no other community. I have no problems with nobody else but those from any community, including my own, who are adversely affecting the growth, repair, healing, and justice for my people. Like, that's it. Everybody else, is all love. I mean, I'm a human rights activist. If the things that were happening to black people in America, to Africans in America, if that was happening to Jewish people in America, or Indians in America, or any other people in America, and they were dead last for 398 years, then I'd be fighting for them as hard as I fight for my people. If my people were in first place, and European Americans were in last place, and getting the treatment that we receive, I'd be fighting for European Americans. That's dead ass. I serve those who are least amongst us. But right now, that's my people, which is even closer to home. And that's how I ride. This is about human love. This is like, I'm not a Christian because I don't believe in religion, because God has no religion. But I do follow the example of Christ. I like how Christ rocked. I like how Jesus rocked. He was out there with the leopards and the prostitutes and the inmates and the prisoners and the streets, trying to serve and heal people and bring them closer to the higher power. And like, that's where I really got like my whole kind of movement from and mission from, was like reading the gospel, like literally reading the Bible and looking at Jesus' example. Like, yo, I didn't want to hear what no pastor had to say. Let me read about Jesus for myself. And then reading for Jesus by myself and looking at his example on earth, I'm like, yo, that's a dope way to move, where you powerful, where you influential, but you're still humble, but you're still a servant, and you're still looking out for those who are least amongst us. Not how you could just go pass out a collection plate and scoop a private jet. So, and there's no knock again to just any one religion. I'm just saying the whole point is that as leaders, as influencers, it's our first responsibility to serve, and everybody gotta make a living. I understand that. Like we all gotta eat, and so you can do that too. But it's just about again being in the right spirit, doing things in moderation, and leading the people in the right way. But that's it. I just want to brain dump, kind of just some of my thoughts of what's wrong with our community. Again, the solution book is out. It's in libraries all throughout the country. It's on Barnes and Noble, Amazon.com. It'll be on our website soon. It's the solution: how Africans in America achieve unity, justice, and repair. And our second book was coming out the same day. Lord of My Land: 5 Steps to Homeownership is again part of the solution impact, and where it's the key for homeowners and how we build wealth through homeownership, which is the cornerstone of wealth, right? Is real estate ownership. So I just want to do a little video for y'all. Appreciate y'all rocking with me. And I don't even want to say support me, man. Support our people. No matter what color, race, ethnicity you are, understand the plight of Africans in America. You guys of any color should read my book, The Solution. And I depict and I lay out all the facts, no opinions, no opinions, all the facts of what is historically and statistically wrong with my community and what has been done to my community and what my community does to ourselves, what we do to ourselves. I'm all for self-accountability. I don't look past that. But just because I'm looking at myself and what I do wrong, it don't mean I'm going to let you punch me in the eye. Because I'm going to punch you back. But I'm not going to keep beating myself up either, right? So we got to be intentional about our self-repair and intentional about receiving justice and repair from those who have oppressed us and put us in this position. So it's a two-pronged approach, yo. It's the solution. Like, let's be thorough. Again, Jay Morrison, Young Malcolm, I'm out. Peace.